UFC Fight Night, Namajunas versus Cortez full card prediction. I'm going to say it right now. This card has gone through some really big lows and some really big highs as the cancellations just kept on freaking coming. But with the cancellations, of course, we did get, some really good replacements. The first one we're going to talk about, Jasmine, Viviane Araújo. Jasmine was supposed to get a shot in the top 10 of the women's flyweight division. Instead, gets the biggest rising prospect of the women's strawweight division, 6-0 undefeated up-and-comer Fatima Kline. Supposed to fight on Contender Series, now is fighting a ranked girl in her debut, up a weight class. Just craziness right there, but they're actually pegging Fatima Kline as the favorite in that one, where Jasmine was the underdog, or no, Jasmine was the favorite against Viviane Araújo. So already the odds makers are putting more on Fatima Kline's name than a top 10 women's flyweight in Viviane Araújo, which is just wow. And again, Fatima's a strawweight, got to keep that in mind. We got Mike Mallet, Gilbert Urbina. They both actually pulled out. Gilbert Urbina did first. They tried to find a replacement for Mike Mallet. I don't know what happened to Mike. I don't think he actually disclosed what he got injured, but unfortunately, he was not able to make that date as well. Namajunas and Barber, I kind of looked through her Instagram and found out what the deal was. It was a few days ago. And it sounded like her immune system was really jacked up or something like that. I mean, it's really rough what Maycee Barber seemed to be going through. So, I mean, there's no way she would be able to fight in freaking altitude against Rose Namajunas in a 5-round main event. So that was a tough one for Maycee Barber. We had some injuries as well. Mike Davis getting his bicep torn. Some really bad injuries during training. We had Nazim Sadikhov's both opponents. I feel really bad for Nazim. I interviewed him, I believe, a few weeks ago, right after Chris Duncan withdrew due to staph infection. Then he got the Marquel Medeiros fight. I was talking to him about the Marquel Medeiros fight. Then boom, Marquel withdrawals due to unknown reasons. So Nazim, unfortunately, won't even be on the card at all, which I was really looking forward to him being on the card. But again, like I said, really big lows with all of these, but some highs as we did get new fights added, like Montel Jackson, Damone Blackshear. I like Jasmine versus Fatima Kline, like Charles Johnson, Joshua Van, like Drew Dober, Jean Silva, and Namajunas Cortez. Supposed to get a Kevin Holland fight as well. They offered Chris Weidman to him. They offered, who's the other one? Jared Cannonier to him. Both of them said no, just too short notice. And they tried to get some other guys in, but those ones did not come to fruition. So 11 fights, UFC Fight Night, Denver, Colorado, 6 days away. Let's pray there's no more cancellations. I was at the movie theater yesterday when Viviane Araújo pulled out, and like 10 minutes after that, I heard that Fatima Kline was going to come in. So please, no more change-ups. Card is pretty decent in my opinion. I would like Van versus Charles Johnson to be on the main card. Please, like, instead of Christian Rodriguez, Julien, Erosa, personally, I would have them above them, but, whatever the UFC wants to do, I guess. It's still a solid card, a lot of fun fights, but, yeah, if you're still with me here through this very long intro, thank you very much. Go, check that pinned comment down below to become a channel member, and you'll get all the bets that I make every single week for MMA, for boxing, for whatever. You'll get my entire UFC rankings, which is literally like 100 UFC lightweights. I rank all 100 of them. Let's get into the first fight of the night. We do have Josh Fremd, Andre Petroski's the first fight of the card. That's wow. All right, well, let's get into it. Josh Fremd and Andre Petroski in the UFC middleweight division. I like this one a lot. Both guys are coming off losses. Andre's was pretty freaking weird. I mean, I believe his head dove in to Jacob Malkoun's hip, and he got knocked out from that. Really weird way to get knocked out, but I didn't even know what happened while watching it live. Obviously, Josh Fremd is coming off a brutal knockout loss to Roman Kopylov, who was piecing him up with the hands to the face, and then eventually, obviously, you go too much to the face, they start to overcompensate their defense because they don't want to keep getting hit, then it leaves the body open. Boom, Roman caught him with a nice liver punch. But before that, he was doing really good. Had a rough start, but only, didn't even get finished by Anthony Hernandez. Did lose to Tracy but finished Dumas and then beat Jamie Pickett. So he's doing pretty good before that, in my opinion. But now he's fighting Andre Petroski, which I do feel like this is a 50-50 fight in the UFC middleweight division, because Andre Petroski is pretty similar when it comes to the wrestling and grappling when I'm talking about their skill level. I might give Andre Petroski a slight edge in grappling and in wrestling, but not enough to where he's going to like dominate it on the ground. Obviously, we saw him kind of control Gerald Meerschaert and win that really, really close decision. He was gassing out a little bit. And then obviously got knocked out. And then the weird one with Jacob Malkoun before that. Showed good grappling in the fights before that. But again, what I'm trying to say here is he's good at the wrestling offensively, going for the takedowns and all of that. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold Jacob Malkoun there. And Jacob, you might think he's like a horrible striker because he's coming off a knockout loss. Again, that's kind of what the fans go off. Their last performance, he must be a horrible striker. I think he's a little bit better than Andre Petroski on the feet. I think he should be able to defend the takedowns, keep it in that clinch situation, land some elbows, land some knees. Maybe lose round one due to the grappling onslaught of Andre Petroski early, but I think we're going to have a little bit of a comeback here. A lot of the odds makers are going to have that live betting going towards Andre Petroski, minus 400 favor. He dominated round one. Boom, round two comes, and we start to see Fremd going for submissions. We start to see Fremd landing some more shots on the feet. We start to see Andre Petroski start to gas a little bit. Not a confident one. Again, I'm going to look at the betting odds. I'm assuming really close. Josh is a slight favorite, but let me see. Yeah, he was the underdog before that. So I am assuming this is going to be one of those pick'em type of a fights that's kind of going to come down to round number two. If Andre is able to keep the gas tank up and land a takedown or two in round two, control it there, land a little bit of ground and pound, could win the fight for sure. It's a close one at 185 pounds. One of the more shallow divisions as of right now. The top is pretty solid, but that kind of outside the top 15 is pretty shallow. There's not really that many middleweights actually on the roster, so I'm hoping Dana White's Contender Series adds a few, but this should be fun. I do believe Andre gassing out after round number one, it is in Denver, remember, could actually cause this one to be pretty fun on the feet. And when you have two grapplers that are going out there and they start to gas out a little bit, neither's landing takedowns, you get some sloppy striking, and that means fun striking. I expect this to be a good one to open up UFC Fight Night Denver, but I do lean Josh Fremd ever so slightly. So a 29-28 unanimous decision. Maybe a split if the judges are feeling a little bit risky, but I'm going to go Josh Fremd by unanimous decision. Montel Jackson, Damon Blackshear in the UFC's bantamweight division. I don't know what was up with myself or with everybody else. I thought he beat Mario Bautista. I could have been maybe like looking away right when Mario was landing some good shots. I felt after watching that fight that Mario Bautista won. Again, maybe I wasn't watching where Mario was doing his best work, but for it to even be in that realm of closeness with Mario Bautista, where Damon Blackshear is having a closer fight with Mario Bautista than Ricky Simon was, that's really good for Damon. Before that, submitted Jose Johnson with a twister, knocked out Luana as he was going for an ankle lock, and just boom. And he's only lost to the best of them, a top 15 guy, and then Farid Basharat, who is a future top 15 guy. Youssef Zalal, who's up at featherweight right now and just submitted Billy Quarantillo, didn't get finished by freaking Ilia Topuria, and he's having a draw with him. I'm very high on Damon Blackshear, and he's only 29 years old. Damon, I believe, should be able to defend later on in the fight. Earlier on, Montel is very good with the wrestling, and he's just constantly going for those takedowns. I think Montel's going to give him very big trouble early on with those takedowns. I think later on as the fight goes, Montel's going to be like, I got to conserve a little bit of energy. It's not going to be worth it to go for the takedowns here. So I got Montel winning round one. I got Damon coming back in round number 3. And again, just like that last fight, I kind of had this one as I think Montel's going to take him down in round 1, not going to be able to as easily in round number 2, so it's going to come down to more of the striking between Montel Jackson and Damon Blackshear. And I don't know, there's something about Montel Jackson's striking I really like. I know he is only knocking out and hurting the Jesse Strader, the JP Buys, the Ronnie Yaya guys that either don't really have that good of a chin or something like that, but he's still looking pretty impressive on the feet. I think Damon is going to be pressuring forward. I think Montel's going to counter a little bit of Damon coming in. Again, Damon could have like one moment that really sways this fight. It's very, very close. Again, let me look at these odds. They gotta be like 50-50. Again, very, very close in that minus 100 range. I lean Montel Jackson ever so slightly. 75-77% is a little crazy. This confident on Montel Jackson. I think it should be a little bit closer to a pick'em, like the odds are saying. Gonna go Montel Jackson. Another close 29-28 decision, but I definitely see this being a fun fight as well. Damon doesn't back down. I mean, he made the Mario Batista fight pretty fun. Whether this is on the ground, he's good at his ground and pound. If he's able to get on top, he's got very, very good ground and pound. He's got good submissions. Montel's got good takedowns. This could be a fun grappling match, and if it's on the feet, I still think it'll be pretty fun. I like this fight a lot, but I lean Montel by a close decision. Luana Santos and Mariya Agapova in the women's flyweight division. At one point, I don't remember when that point was because it was quite a while ago, Mariya Agapova was like a huge minus 1,600 favorite over a losing record girl in Shayna Dobson, and she got TKO'd. I don't really know how she's been on the roster since then. I know she beat Hannah Cifers. That was her debut. Lost to Shayna Dobson. Won one fight, and maybe like after the Sabina Mazo fight, she got another 4-fight deal, because typically after 3 fights, they'll negotiate your new contract. She was 2-1. So maybe she's 2-fight into her second deal here, but I don't actually believe she should still be in the UFC. She got finished fairly easily by Jillian Robertson, submitted fairly easily again by Marina Moroz, gassed out pretty badly by Shayna Dobson. Her ground game really just is not there. Every time she goes against a girl that's able to get on top of her on the ground, she does not really have that kind of success. And Luana Santos, 7-1. Has a knockout win over Juliana Miller. That was very, very nice. I believe they are trying to give Mariya Agapova more of a striking girl, but she's a good striker for sure. She is very, very good on the ground as well. So I do believe wherever this fight goes, if it is on the feet, if it is on the ground, Luana has more power than Mariya Agapova. I believe she's actually bigger and stronger than Mariya Agapova as well. And if she gets on top, just like a lot of these other opponents for Mariya Agapova, I do expect Luana Santos to be able to get that finish. I think Luana could be able to get the ground and pound going. I don't think she'll get the finish with the ground and pound the more I'm thinking about it. If there is a knockout, I expect it to be on the feet from Luana Santos. If it's on the ground, I'm going to go Luana Santos with a rear naked or an arm triangle choke submission. Going one or the other. I am going to go finish. Let's go submission. Let's go Luana Santos, round 2, submission. A lot of people saying this fight's going to go to a decision. I am curious to see what the odds are on this one going all the way. Over 1.5 is minus 175. That doesn't tell you really much. Yeah, I'm going submission. I think Luana is going to win the striking in round number 1. We're going to see Mariya fade. It's in Denver as well. It's another huge factor for Mariya Agapova going in. I think Luana will win round 1 with the striking. Round 2, Luana's going to be like, okay, Mariya's starting to gas a little bit. I'm gonna start striking. Boom. Hit her with a takedown. Hit her with a ground and pound. She gives her back up. Rear naked choke. That's a prediction. Some crazy could have happened. That's totally not what I just said, but I got Luana Santos. Let's go round 2, and let's go submission. She's 2-0 already in the UFC, which is very, very good, and she's not really being talked about all too much. I think after this fight, if she's able to get another good finish, let's put some respect on Luana Santos' name. She's 24 years old, and she's up and coming. She's fighting in 2 weight classes and doing very well in 2 weight classes. Let's put some respect on Luana Santos if she's able to win this fight. Let's go. Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Fatima Kline in the women's flyweight division. Now, like I was saying earlier, Fatima Kline is the most hyped prospect in women's MMA outside of the UFC. Not signed to a major organization. Now she is, of course, signed to a major organization. Now that she's in, all the questions are coming. Can she live up to the hype? It's short notice. Could that be a mistake for Fatima? Shouldn't she take her time? She's only 24 years old. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that in the comments of a lot of posts talking about this fight. It's a perfect thing for Fatima Kline to do. She's 24 years old. She's undefeated. Yes, it's not boxing. You don't need to keep that undefeated record. And she's willing to show already this early into her MMA career that she is a DAWG. WG. I did that wrong. My bad. She's a dog. If she's coming in on short notice to go to elevation and fight Jasmine Jasudavicius, one of the more high-paced fighters in this women's flyweight division that landed like, I don't know, like 200, 300 strikes, had like a single fight record against Priscilla Cachoeira in her last fight. Jasmine is a freaking beast. I don't think she's ever been finished in her entire MMA career. And if she has, I mean, well, what I just said was kind of dumb, but I don't really believe so. All 3 losses are going to be by decision to Beast, Natalia Silva in that top 15, Tracy Cortez in the main event, and Elise Reed by a very close split decision. Jasmine's such a tough girl. I mean, she's really, really good. She puts such a high pace on. She's a veteran of the game, and she knows how to just constantly go. For Fatima to do this on short notice is crazy, in my opinion. I mean, I personally, I have to give the respect to Fatima, of course, but I am going to go Jasmine to win as the underdog, which is crazy. She's the underdog. I'm going to go Jasmine by a 29-28 decision. I think Fatima is going to go out there like, you know, I got nothing to lose. This is my debut. I took it on short notice. Win or lose, I have the respect of the fans, which you do. You already have my respect 100%. So I think Fatima's going to come out there in round number 1 ready to just put on a pace. And try to go for that finish. I mean, she didn't have a training camp here. She was training for Dana White's Contender Series, but that was a little bit later, not July 13th. So I think Fatima's going to put it all out there. I think she's going to win round number 1. She's going to look good. She's going to almost get the finish. And Jasmine's going to be Jasmine. Jasmine's going to come out there, round number 2, round number 3, defend those takedowns, keep it on the feet, outstrike her. Have Fatima just shooting for the legs, and she's going to reverse. She's going to get on top and start putting in that work and ground and pound like she was in her fight with Priscilla Cachoeira. I think this should be fun. I mean, again, an undefeated up-and-comer coming in on short notice against a gritty veteran that's hasn't really been in the UFC for a super, super long time, but has proven herself as one of the more exciting women's flyweight fighters. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's not going to be any dominating from either side. Fatima, I don't think, is going to go out there and easily win this fight and control it on the ground for all 3 rounds or finish her in round 1. And I don't think Jasmine's going to fully control this fight either. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be a gritty battle. Dude, this is honestly, I'm looking at the card right now. Montel Jackson Damon is one of my more highly looked at. I really, really want to see that. Montel versus Damon. Charles Johnson, Joshua Van is another one. Drew Dober and John Silva. Jasmine Fatima Kline's like number 2. I kind of have it Drew Dober, John Silva number 1 because it's a Drew Dober fight. I got to have him really high. But I might actually have Jasmine and Fatima over Josh Van and Charles Johnson. I don't know what it is. I really, really like this fight. Can't wait. I know Fatima's going to have a super great future. She's so young. I love this fight, man. I really, really do. And again, Fatima's a favorite, guys. Fatima's at minus 135. She started as a huge underdog, predictably, but money is rolling and people are confident on Fatima Kline to win this fight. But I got Jasmine. I think it's a little bit too much too early, but I love it. I respect it. It's awesome. I can't wait, guys. Comment who you guys have. Fatima or Jasmine? Joshua Van and Charles Johnson in the UFC flyweight division. I've been seeing them go a little bit back and forth on Twitter and on Instagram. Charles, pictures of himself with a van behind him, obviously Joshua Van, with the last name. Joshua saying, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight anyone. I'm not even training right now, please. I'm not training. Somebody accept a fight with me. I mean, they're having fun with it, which I do like. Charles is a guy I've talked to on Instagram before. He was trying to get a top 15 shot. He still is trying to get that top 15 shot. UFC is not having it. They're not willing to give Charles a top 15 opponent at this point in his MMA and UFC career. He's on a 2-fight win streak over undefeated Azat Maksum. And then a nice striking show against Jake Hadley in his last fight. Joshua Van, 3-0 in the UFC. They're both on really good streaks. They're both up and coming in this flyweight division. Charles only loses to the best of them in this flyweight division. Ranked guys. Mokayev had a really close fight with Charles. Charles is a dog. Energy dog right here. I mean, Charles goes out there every single time. No matter who he's fighting, he could fight Alhassan de Pantoja and make it a close fight. That's who Charles Johnson is. Joshua Van is very new. He's very, very young. And he's new to MMA, actually. He hasn't been training since he was 13 or anything like that. But he's very, very good. His striking, his power is very, 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 very good. He is not that tall. He is not that lengthy. So the thing I'm kind of contemplating in my mind here is can Josh Van come into that range? He's 5'5", 65 inches tall. His last few fights, I mean, obviously, he looked really good against Jalgas. Jalgas is a wrestler, but he was able to defend those takedowns and outstrike him. Cool. Obviously, he had the Felipe Buenas fight. He was able to outstrike him on the feet, able to knock him out. Very cool. Kevin Borges as well. I think Charles Johnson is a step up from all of these guys, 100%. 100%. And the reason I say that is he's a super fast striker. He's very, very, very good at moving around that cage. And he's taller and lengthier by a lot than Joshua Van. 5-inch reach advantage, 4-inch height advantage. And I think stylistically, a lot of people are saying, oh, Josh Van's just going to get inside that pocket and land on Charles Johnson. I don't think so. I don't actually think so. I was coming into this video right now ready to give you another favorite pick. Josh Van minus 173. I was ready to go out and say, yeah, I'm going to go Charles Johnson to lose a 29-28 decision. That's what I was coming in here ready to say. The more and more that I kind of think about this fight, I was thinking about it earlier at lunch, and I was like, Josh is good. He's got slick boxing. He comes into that range very, very well. But I think as soon as he gets in that range, he's always going to eat a shot. Every time he's entering that range, he's going to eat a jab. He's going to eat a teep. He's going to eat a leg kick. Every single time. And when he does eventually get inside that pocket and he's able to land those bigger shots, right when he's about to, I think Charles's movement is just going to be there. It's going to be on point to either evade and escape that situation back to the center of the octagon, or he's going to clinch for a second, boom, move out, and he's back at range again. Of course, Van will have his moments. Charles will have his moments. It's going to come down to how well can Joshua find that range and get inside. Dude, it's so close. Flip a coin, man. I'm going to go Charles Johnson. I'm going to go Charles Johnson on this one, man. It's so close, though. It is really, really close. Again, like I said, Charles can make it a close fight with anybody in that flyweight division. And he could beat anybody in that flyweight division. If he's able to keep it on the feet, he's able to beat anyone. Obviously, the Cody Durden types, the Mokaev types, they're kind of the kryptonite of Charles, but I think this is kind of one of those matchups. Charles doesn't have to worry about defending takedowns like he was against Hadley, like he was against Razak, Rafael Estevam, Cody Durden. I mean, he got robbed against Cody Osborne. We're not going to talk about that. But he doesn't have to worry about the takedowns here with Joshua Van, in my opinion. So, stylistically, I really like this for Charles. I really, really like this for Charles. Yeah, I mean, Mokaev, Durden, Estevam, the three guys I really actually think he beat, or he lost to, they're all wrestlers, man. I think he should be 5-3 in the UFC's flyweight division right now. And his only losses, undefeated Rafael Estevam. Again, the only losses I'm going to count, top 5, I think maybe number 6, but I think top 5, Muhammad Mokaev, and then top 15, Cody Durden. That's all this guy is losing to. And they're not domination performances. They're close 29-28s. They're all wrestlers. And whenever he's going against those guys, he's able to outstrike them. Joshua Van, same thing. He's going against a lot of wrestlers and grapplers, and he's able to outstrike them. Now it's striker versus striker. I think Charles is a little bit better. That movement, that speed, that agility, that height, that range. Oh, it's so close. I'm very, very, very much looking forward to this. I was saying it earlier. I had the Drew Dober fight, Jasmine, Jasudavicius, Fatima, Kline fight, and Josh Van, Charles Johnson. Those are my top 3, with Montel, Jackson, Damota as my number 4. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun one. Charles Johnson, I got him by decision. Put him on the main card. God damn. Cody Brundage and Abdul Razak Alhassan in the middleweight division. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting. Because Abdul's been on that. There's a lot of fighters like this. They win one, they lose one, they win one, they lose one, they win one, they lose one. And he's kind of been on that for a while. In that every time he wins one, or if he wins 2, or if he wins 3, he loses that same amount right afterwards. Came in his debut, knocked out Charlie Ward, 53 seconds. Then he loses. Then he wins 3 in a row. You're like, wow, this dude's the next prospect. Knocked out Saba Homasi twice. Obviously, there was some controversy in the first one. Then he knocked out Nico Price in 43 seconds. 3 wins in a row. Everyone's like, oh my God, this dude's good. This guy, Abdul Razak Alhassan, is making a name for himself. He's legit. He was out for a full year, maybe 2 years. Came back and lost 3 straight. To legit dudes, Munir Lazez outstruck him. Chaos caught him with that big shot, and Malkoun out-wrestled him. That's 3 losses in a row. Then he came back with a win. Then he came back with a loss. Came back with a win. Came back with a loss. I don't know how it happens with a lot of these fighters. They just have the predictable pattern. So I don't know what's going to happen after this. It could be another loss and then 2 more wins after that. I really, really do not know. But Cody's a tough guy. And I feel like if Abdul loses this fight, he could be out of the UFC. Because, again, he has equal wins to losses. Because, I mean, he's had the same thing happen every single time. 6 wins, 6 losses. And I really do believe his job could very well be on the line here against Cody Brundage. Cody, I don't know. What is he, 4-5? His job might also be on the line. Because, yes, he got the knockout on Zach Reese. But he was on a 3-fight losing streak at one point. His only win was that illegal elbow, which wasn't really a win on Jacob Malkoun. And, of course, he had the very impressive one. He slammed on the back of his head. That was a good win. Very, very solid win. But I really think the loser here, the UFC is either going to cut, or maybe it is just the last fight of one of these guys' contracts. I feel like it's do or die here. I feel like Abdul needs to go out there with like stellar takedown defense and just swing. Hope he lands on that chin of Cody Brundage. And I think he will. I think he has the perfect style. Cody Brundage is a guy, he's good offensively in the wrestling. He's pretty decent in the defensive part of that as well. I mean, you could be like, oh, Bo Nickel. He's good in the defensive part of the wrestling. He doesn't really have to worry about that here with Abdul Razak Alhassan. But, again, I said Cody's good in his offensive wrestling. Abdul is good with his defensive wrestling. And he actually showed good offensive wrestling himself against Joaquin Buckley and actually almost won that fight when they fought 2.5 years ago. This fight is going to come down to, can Cody get the takedown? That's it. That's all. That's all I got for you. What are the odds on this one? Abdul's a slight favorite as well. Damn, I thought I was going to pick another underdog. Shoot. I was hoping Abdul is underdog. Damn. But yeah, I think Abdul has shown his wrestling, and obviously we know he has that judo background as well. I feel like Cody's striking is not really near Abdul Razak Alhassan's striking. And I feel like with the fact that he is the Judo Thunder, got good judo as well, and could defend these takedowns, it's going to be too much time on the feet for Cody to spend with Abdul Razak Alhassan. Too much time for him. And I know the only time he got knocked out was the ground and pound knockout on Dana White's Contender Series. That was like when I first started this channel. That's a crazy long time ago. That was his first ever loss. And then the Mikhail Oleksiejczuk one, where he caught him down the middle and then knocked him out. I'm expecting a similar one. Round 1, Abdul Razak Alhassan. I think he's going to land one shot to the middle. It's going to wobble him a little bit. His back is going to hit the cage. And I think Abdul's going to just start flanging leather. And I think he's going to catch him. Again, it's do or die. Cody needs that takedown. Even if he is hurt, should probably try to get that takedown. And rest his noggin a little bit and just try to gas out Abdul on the ground. Ground and pound him, control it. He kind of has to make this a boring fight. Again, not what you really want to hear from a guy like me. I mean, you got to make this a boring fight to win, but I think that's the most logical path to victory for Cody, is just to kind of grind this one out, not give Abdul any space and just smother him on the ground. So when he is on the feet, the muscles are a little bit more fatigued. He's not able to generate that power and knock you out. All going to come down to round 1. Is he able to get that takedown before Abdul starts swinging leather? I think Abdul's going to catch him. I do. It's pretty close. It is pretty close. But, again, if Abdul's not able to catch him, like I'm saying it like as a fact, Abdul's going to catch him. If he's not able to catch him, it's in Denver. I think Cody could put on a pace later on in the fight and win those rounds. But I think he does catch him. So, very, very close one as well. It's not one that I would say is close in terms of, oh, it could be a split decision. It's like, I feel pretty confident it's Abdul Razak Alhassan round 1 knockout, or it's Cody Brundage grinding, greasy, ground and pounding decision. That's kind of my feeling here. And Cody's no slouch on the feet either, but I think that'll be bad. If he's like, oh, I'm not that bad of a striker as well. I was able to go out there and who's the guy he knocked out? Dalsha Lungiambula, I believe, like 6 fights ago. If he's out there with the mindset of, oh, I think I have good striking as well, I don't have to go for the takedowns, that's exactly what Abdul wants. You to start going boom and get countered on the way in. So it's a good one. If Abdul wins, it'll be a good one. I don't think if Cody wins, it'll be that good of a fight, but should be interesting if it goes the way I'm predicting it. I got Abdul, round 1, TKO. Christian Rodriguez, Julien Erosa in the featherweight division. I'm going dog. All right? Everyone was clowning me on my early prediction video I made like 3 weeks ago when this fight got announced. And I was like, dude, I might be going Julien Erosa here. And I am. And I am. Who is Julien Erosa lost to? I know you're going to go back. Oh, Artem Lobov. 9 years ago. Shush. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about recently. I know he's lost to Patty. I know he's lost to Artem Lobov. We're talking about recently, all right? When he joined back in the UFC, I mean, he's had some pretty bad runs in the UFC. Let's be honest here. He got knocked out in his second fight in the UFC, cut from the promotion, came back, lost 3 in a row, cut again, and then got right back in it. And once he got back in it, this stretch where he went, 5-3, was really, really good because he beat Sean Woodson, who's ranked like 16th right now, Nate Landwehr, who's ranked like 17th right now, Charles Jourdain, who's in that like top 25 range, Hakeem Dawodu, also in that top 25 range, Ricardo Ramos, top 30 range, and he's only losing to guys like Sungwoo Choi, Alex Caceres, top 15 type of guy, and Fernando Padilla as well. The guy, again, these guys that are beating him are very, very good. Strikers. Sungwoo Choi is a striker. Very technical striker, good movement, good speed, good power. Striker. Alex Caceres. Nobody out there is going to tell me he's a wrestler. He's a grappler, I would say. He's good jiu-jitsu, for sure. But he's not trying to go out there and take you down. That's who also was able to beat him. And then Fernando Padilla, striker as well. That's the point I'm trying to bring up here. And when he goes against the grappler, he's able to win those fights because he hasn't lost to a grappler yet in this new run in the UFC. And what is Christian Rodriguez? He's a grappler. He is a grappler. He's on a 4-fight win streak, only lost to Jonathan Pierce in the UFC, submitted Joshua Weems, out-wrestled Raul Rosas, landed some good takedowns on Cameron, but outstruck him actually, which was pretty interesting, and then landed some takedowns to win. I don't think he won, personally. That's just my opinion. I don't think he won that fight. But he was able to win that one on the ground. That's what he's trying to do. What is Julien trying to do? He's trying to outstrike you on the feet or catch you coming in and submit you. I'm going Julien. I'm not going submission. Some people will be like, oh, you're just saying that because he's coming off a guillotine. You're just saying that because he was able to Darce choke Sean Woodson. No. Sure, he did all of those things. He could very well catch Christian Rodriguez with a submission coming in and choke him out, 100%. That's very, very much on the table. But I don't even think that. I think he's going to be able to defend these. Either using those submissions, sure, he could. Submissions actually are a pretty good way to defend some takedowns because it really, really stops them. And they're like, should I actually go for this takedown? It could be a very, very good deterrent for Christian to go in on him. And if it is a pure kickboxing match, I'm Julien Erosa all day. I'm Julien Erosa all day. He's way bigger. Way, way, way bigger. 6'1", that's a 6-inch height advantage, and a 3.5-inch reach advantage. Christian's just going to keep eating shots coming in. He was able to outstrike Hakeem Dawodu, Steven Peterson, and a few others in the UFC. I think he should be able to handle himself on the feet with Christian Rodriguez, a wrestler. Again, you're looking at fights. He's getting knocked out in these ones. Oh, okay. Christian Rodriguez is nowhere near the striker, in my opinion, as Fernando Padilla and Alex Caceres, of course. Alex is one of the best strikers in this UFC featherweight division by far. I don't think Christian's going to be able to do it. I think he needs the takedowns here. He needs them. And even if he does get them, he's in serious danger at any moment in time of getting choked out. So I think that deterrent's going to be there for Christian. It's going to make him a little bit hesitant to go for those takedowns. And make him lose a few of those takedowns because of those submissions. Make this more of a striking fight. And I think Julien wins this striking fight. It's a close one, though. A lot of the fights from Christian Rodriguez are pretty close. And also a lot of the fights Christian Rodriguez is missing weight for. Raul Rosas and Cameron Simon. He's not going to miss weight here. It's featherweight. But we shall see. I got Julien Erosa to win this one. Let's go split decision. I'm feeling some freaky judges action in the main card. Julien Erosa, split decision. Gabriel Bonfim, Ange Loosa in the welterweight division. Ange Loosa coming off a weird one. Coming off a really, really weird one. I was watching this one live. I was pretty confident Bryan Battle was going to win. He's so much taller, so much lengthier, better striker, better kicker. I had it being a striking fight. And then the whole accidental eye poke, but then Loosa was fine afterwards. It was a whole ordeal. I mean, a lot of stuff we could go into on that one, but let's keep it on the fight here at hand. Gabriel Bonfim is his new opponent, who was coming off a loss and where he gassed out badly against Nicolas Dalby, and I believe got finished towards the end of round number 2. But before that, I mean, dude was dominating. Bro, submitted Trey Waters easily, submitted Munir Lazez easily, submitted Trevin Giles easily, and, like, finished everyone else easily. He finishes everyone. None of his fights go all the way. And Ange Loosa is a guy, a lot of his fights do go all the way, but he never gets finished. Gabriel got finished in his only loss, but my man Ange Loosa has never been finished. Got outstruck by Munir Lazez for 3 rounds, but then came back and got 2 pretty solid decision wins over AJ Fletcher and Reese McKee. Should have lost the Bryan Battle fight, you know. And then obviously you got outstruck by Jack Della Maddalena. But the one thing we're going to look at here is Jack is a striker, Munir is a striker. These are the guys able to beat him, and the other one was like 6 years ago. So the only guys able to beat Ange Loosa recently are beating him on the feet. Gabriel, you can say he's like a super good striker, maybe. I mean, he's not bad on the feet by any means. He is just so far superior when it does come to the grappling. And Ange Loosa is a guy, it's such a hard thing to knock him out. He's got a very good chin, but he hasn't really been tested in the grappling. We don't know really how good Ange Loosa is on the ground, so I'm coming in here a little bit blind. I did my research on Ange Loosa's past like 4 or 5 fights, and I haven't seen really that many of his opponents landing takedowns, controlling them on the ground, or anything like that. But again, none of those opponents have really been that type of fighter to go out there doing what Gabriel Bonfim is going to be trying to do in this fight. So, a lot of unknowns with this one. A lot of unknowns. I'd stay away from it if you're trying to bet on it, for sure. Just because of how many unknowns there are. Sure, he could get the submission, but maybe Ange Loosa just has a really good submission defense, and we don't even know about it. I don't know. Yeah, this is the blind one. This is one where I'm like closing my eyes and shooting at the dartboard here. Because I don't know how good Ange Loosa's submission defense actually is. I haven't seen much of it. So, I'm going to go Gabriel Bonfim to win. I'm going to do it a 2-parter. I'm not going to fully commit towards submission. Fully commit towards decision. Because, again, I don't really know on Ange Loosa's submission defense. So, I'm going to go submission or decision. Either a round 1 submission. That's when he catches them all. But if Ange is really legit when it comes to that, if he doesn't get it in round number 1, if Gabriel's not able to finish in round 1, it'll go all the way. Gabriel will control him on the ground, keep on attempting more submissions. They'll be sweaty. Not going to happen. Gabriel Bonfim, round 1 submission or unanimous decision. Drew Dober and Jean Silva. I know I said that a little bit French. In the UFC's lightweight division, up a weight class on like 2 weeks' notice. When did John Silva last fight? Anybody know? It was last week. It was last week. My guy fought Charles Jourdain at UFC 303 7 days ago. 7 days ago. Knocked out a guy that has never been knocked out. 7 days ago. He only has 1 win by decision in the history of his MMA career against Kevin Vallejos, who has the most crazy chin I've ever seen, who also has a really crazy chin. Drew, you're correct. Congratulations, you are correct. It is Drew Dober. Drew Dober has an insane chin. An insane chin. And I'm not just saying, he's able to eat a punch. He just has a really good chin. Pause. I mean, I'm not. Pause. But I do feel like this is going to go to a decision. I don't know. I don't know why. John Silva, I've never seen him cracked. I've never seen anyone land a punch on him where he's been wobbled. And I know you can say that about anybody until they get in there with the man, the myth, the legend, Drew Dober, and then he's able to wobble you. Sure. I've never seen John Silva cracked. Seen him crack a lot of his opponents. I've seen Drew Dober crack a lot of his opponents. John's never been finished. Drew Dober has. Obviously, he's coming off of the knockout loss to Frivola, able to come back with a win. Then he got out-wrestled by Renato Moicano. But I don't believe Jean Silva is going to get knocked out here, like a lot of people are saying. And that's insane. He's the favorite on Tapology. Wow. Whoa, he's the favorite on the betting odds too. Wow. That's interesting. That is interesting. Another guy coming in on like a week or two notice. A natural featherweight. He's going to be a lot smaller. He might be a little bit better technically. But Drew Dober is a southpaw. It's a hard thing to train for. Just on short notice. You're not training for it for a full 8-week camp. He's a southpaw. You got to get used to that first. And the fact that he's bigger, he's stronger, he's more powerful. I don't think he's going to finish him. Like, everyone's saying, oh, there's no way this goes to a decision. I think it does. I think it very, very well could go to a decision. John's never been finished, and I think John is gonna crack Dober at one point in this fight. But it's going to be so hard for John to just pour on that pressure fully, knowing that Drew Dober can easily come right back on with some crazy shots of his own. That's the main thing. If Drew Dober is able to crack John, John has the power to knock out Dober with an uppercut, like we saw against Charles Jourdain, and with a flurry of combination. So he's not going to be too willing to just come into that fire and get cracked by John. John's not going to be too willing to come into that fire and Drew and get knocked out by him. Not going to be a boring fight. I'm not saying they're not going to come into that fire just because they're afraid. I'm saying when one of them is hurt, they're just going to be hurt. Oh, I'm hurt. And they're going to be there. The other guy is going to be like, oh, shoot, he's hurt. He's dangerous. Every fighter knows if you hurt a guy and they're not like fully out of it, they're still kind of there, they're so dangerous. Because they're out of it a little bit, but they're still not out of it enough to where they can still throw a haymaker at you. And it's not a technical haymaker. It's a wild one. You don't know where that's going to land and how hard that's going to land. So it's so dangerous to go into those situations. It's going to cause some pauses here. When John hurts Drew, or when Drew hurts John, whatever the case may be. Such a close fight, though. I do have Drew Dober by a 29-28 decision. I fight of the night. This is my most look forward to fight on this UFC fight night. I'm going to go Drew Dober, unanimous decision. Santiago Ponzinibbio and Muslim Salikhov in the welterweight division. Personally, I think Dober and John Silva should probably be the co-main event. This is still a very, very fun fight between two of the aging veterans of the UFC's welterweight division. Ponzinibbio was in that top 15 for a little bit there, and also only really lost to like really good guys of the welterweight division. Li Jingliang was ranked. And he lost to him by knockout in round number 1. Jeff Neal, of course, split decision. Michel Pereira, split decision. I mean, these are guys, Michel, a lot of people say could do really big things up in the middleweight division. He's on like the 3rd longest win streak in the UFC. Jeff Neal's in the top 10, a welterweight. Kevin Holland's in the top 15, still in the welterweight division. These are the only guys able to beat Santiago Ponzinibbio, and of course, he's able to knock out Alex Morono. He's able to knock out Neil Magny, able to beat Mike Perry and outstrike him on the feet. Sean Strickland, this dude is legit. For all of the fans that have not got to see a Santiago Ponzinibbio fight and don't know who he is legit. Muslim is very fun as well. 6-4 in the UFC. He has fights and then takes a long time off, fairly often in my opinion. Only 10 fights since he's been in the UFC since 2017. So it's been about like 7 years and 10 fights. I mean, it's not the super active guy, but he was also on a really big win streak. Lost his debut, but then went on a nice 5 wins in a row. One over Elizu Zaleski, solid one, really close fight. Then he lost to Li Jingliang by knockout, Nicholas Dalby, and then Randy Brown. All 3 guys that have either been in the top 15 or are still right outside of that top 15. I do expect this one 100% stay on the feet and be a striking match. The height and reach between Muslim Salikhov and Santiago Ponzinibbio, very slight, but a little bit of an advantage for Santiago Ponzinibbio in that department. I think Muslim's chin is a little bit gone. Just a little bit. I think Ponzinibbio here has been through some wars himself, but he's still able to land shots and eat shots that come back his way as well and really not be too fazed by a lot of them. So I think it's going to be really close on the feet. I think it does go to a decision, but I think Ponzinibbio just landing the more cracking shots that are going to maybe hurt and stumble Muslim every now and then in this fight are going to be the difference maker and what caused him to win. So I do have Ponzinibbio in a very, very close 29-28 decision. Rose Namajunas and Tracy Cortez in the women's flyweight division. I'm going to go with, I'll tell you in a little bit. Tracy's almost undefeated as an MMA fighter. Her only loss, if people remember before the UFC, her only loss was Cherry Murasaki, and it was her debut in 2017. She got choked out in round number 2 after a very impressive amateur MMA career. But she did go on after that to have some very notable wins in that impressive 11-fight win streak. Obviously, she had some wins over some of those type of fighters. But then, boom, beat Erin Blanchfield in Invicta FC, I believe for the belt, if I'm not mistaken. It was a tournament alternate. I thought it was for the belt for some reason, but she won that one, got her shot in the Contender Series, and has never lost. One other thing, though, she's never got a finish. She's never got a finish. I don't know what's up with the Tracy Cortez fight. She doesn't know how to finish the fight. I mean, she goes for it a little bit every now and then, but she's not able to get it. I mean, she's able to take the fight down, use her wrestling, control it there, and ground and pound her opponents, land some pretty good shots on the feet. Hasn't been able to get the finish. And Rose Namajunas is not a girl you're going to go out there and be like, well, this is the one I'm going to be able to finish. No. I mean, the champ, Carla Esparza, former champ, and a future champion, Manon Fiorot, weren't able to finish Rose Namajunas. There's no chance in heck that Rose Namajunas is getting finished against Tracy Cortez here, unless there's some freak injury. Hopefully I'm not foreshadowing anything here, but again, Tracy's game plan here: get that takedown, keep you on the floor, ground and pound you a little bit, and on the feet, just land some pretty heavy shots to set up the takedowns. Namajunas, obviously the much better striker, pretty good wrestler as well, pretty good on the ground. This is going to be a striking fight. This is an elevation. Namajunas is from Colorado. Tracy Cortez is from Arizona. So there is an advantage there for Rose being the natural person here, the more acclimatized, I don't know how to say that word, to the region. Namajunas has the advantage there. And of course, I mean, we haven't covered it yet in this specific one, but, like Macy Barber was supposed to be in this main event. Tracy was supposed to fight a totally different person with a totally different style in Miranda Maverick. Now she is getting Rose Namajunas a huge step up and 2 more rounds. She was not training for a 5-round fight. I think Namajunas will maybe lose a little bit early. I think Cortez could have some success early on, pressuring Namajunas with the strikes and mixing in those takedowns, but she's not training for 5 rounds, not training for elevation. And Namajunas is still a good wrestler. It's not like I'm saying Cortez is going to dominate her if she was able to. With the wrestling, I still think Namajunas could defend a lot of these ones, and especially in those later rounds, I think Namajunas should be able to just kind of have her way. With Tracy Cortez, I kind of envision this fight as Manon Fiorot versus Erin Blanchfield. Go rewatch that fight. That's how I kind of play this one. Or I have this one playing out. So, Rose Namajunas, let's go 49-46, unanimous decision. Odds, -200. Very interesting. But yeah, I get Namajunas, unanimous decision. That is the full card prediction for Denver, Colorado. So many change-ups, so many switch-ups. But I do have Josh Fremd by a close decision. I got Montel Jackson as well by a close decision. I got Luana Santos by a submission. I got Jasmine Jasudavicius by a close decision. Charles Johnson, close decision. Abdul Razak Alhassan by knockout. Julien Erosa by a close decision. Bonfim by round 1 submission or a unanimous decision. Not a close decision. Drew Dober, 29-28, war, fight of the night. I got Ponzinibbio by knockout in round number 1, or I have him winning, just kind of wobbling him up on the feet a little bit, and that'll kind of sway the judges. So a 29-28 decision, laying in some shots that wobble Muslim, or an early knockout. I'm leaning more towards the decision on that one, though. And then, of course, Namajunas by a 49-46 decision. That is the full carder. Make sure to like and subscribe, do all that cool stuff. I mean, you don't have to, but it'd be cool. And of course, the Patreon, that's the only way I really get supported, because YouTube does not give me anything. But yeah, check out the Patreon. Pin comment. Yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.